Heading into the 14th and final race of the season tonight, only 1 point separates our top 2 drivers in the fight for the championship. Jody Banfield maintains that slim margin over Todd Slauson coming into tonight's finale, but as the Sim Racers for Mental Health Truck Series presented by Shine MSD roars through the Irish Hills of Michigan, he will have to perfect it tonight because we've got an action-packed double points event coming to you live here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. Up in the booth tonight is going to be yours truly, Nick Schmeg, and I'm being joined alongside by Chris Phoebe. Joe Peak will be over in the director's chair this evening, and as always, he'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Chris, it's not a track that is used to hosting championship events, but regardless of that, these drivers are going to have to figure out Michigan International Speedway. What do they got coming to them?
Well, this track is a deceptively simple layout, a 2-mile D-shaped oval, pretty even banking around the track, but it's very fast, and it's going to be a really big momentum game that we're going to see played throughout this race. As we've seen throughout practice, a lot of drafting involved with these trucks around this track. It's going to be a lot of fun and a very exciting event with lots of passing opportunities. And as we take a look at the overview, we're going to throw down to our virtual lap for the Michigan International Speedway.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Global Sim Racing Channel. I'm Brian Yazek, taking you for a spin around the Michigan International Speedway in the GSRC Chevrolet Silverado, my home track. So for your laps here, it's going to be a big sprawling speedway, a lot of room to run, but getting it wound up, you're going to run all the way up here kind of right next to the fence. And then down into turn 1, you're going to let it float out of the throttle just a little bit, probably down to about half throttle. Let it find the seam down here on the bottom lane. Don't go below that seam. It will de-wedge the vehicle and you'll spin out in about a heartbeat. Aiming for that crossover gate out of turn 2. Don't hit it. Turn 3 is actually really easy to overdrive here at MIS. As you can see right here, you go into the corner just too hot and it doesn't want to turn down to the bottom where the grip is. But you can still make time up here because coming out of the corner, you're going to be sailing it really high out of the corner, getting a big arc. And then you're going to see guys run right down here a lot too as the run progresses, especially for your qualifying lap, but as the race runs, because it allows for a little bit of a draft block. Back down into turn 1. Out of the gas a little bit, into it, back out to full throttle, right at about the apex of 2. Aim for that crossover gate, and back down the back stretch. A lot of room to run here. You can see guys going 2, 3 wide, maybe even 4 if they're brave enough. Turn 3, let it lift out right about where the caution light is up there on the wall. Back into the gas hard. Let it eat on the bottom, drift it out towards the fence. Out of turn 4, down the front stretch for the final time today. Down all the way here to the apron, don't clip the grass, but across the line, and that is going to complete our track guide around the Michigan International Speedway in the GSRC Chevrolet Silverado. I'm Brian Yazek. Enjoy the show.
And there you see a couple laps around the very fast, very big, very wide Michigan International Speedway here in Brooklyn. Chris, you know this track pretty well, and we've got some race details for our viewers tonight, and it's definitely an important race.
Yep, as we mentioned, this is a double points event for the series, which, as we spoke about last week, means that the normal points amounts will be doubled. This is the 14th round and final round of the chase, allowing the Silverado and Tundra in this one. No spare trucks allowed, and 80 laps will be the distance.
Yeah, so there you have it. Definitely a lot on the line and a lot at stake, and it's going to really, like I said, you're going to really have to perfect your racing tonight to be able to get there and capitalize. You mentioned those points. You mentioned that it was a double points event, which makes this 1 point gap all the more interesting to look at and analyze. Jody Banfield has a 1 point lead right now in the standings over Todd Slauson. 21 points back is Scott Rickard. Now, we're not sure if we've got enough drivers in the field tonight for him to come and play. I would imagine that he is still in contention. Brandon Anderson back there in 4th, 25 points back. Billy Kruska back in 5th. He's jumped up into the top 5, looking to round out his season with a top 5 run. I'm sure he'd love that, but he sits 55 points back. Not sure he's going to be able to run for a championship tonight, but he'll definitely be able to make some headway.
Yeah,
We're taking a look.
I was just going to mention those double points do definitely make a lot of opportunities for some of these drivers a little further back. Hopefully the size of the field doesn't limit them in those opportunities, but still nonetheless, we're going to have a very tight championship battle coming down to the end, I think.
Yep, and this series uses the normal NASCAR points format, so with a couple of tweaks as well, but essentially 46 points, which is 43 plus 3 bonus ones for winning the race, 42 for second, 41 for third, 40 for fourth, so on down the list. Degrades by 1 point. But the thing that I think is going to become really interesting and really important tonight is bonus points. You get a bonus point for that pole position, which, I mean, honestly, that could put you in the points lead depending on who you are. You get a bonus point for leading a lap, and you also get a bonus point for leading the most laps, which is all doubled as well.
Yeah, and that definitely incentivizes qualifying as well as trying to run up front early on in this event. We've seen a lot of really strong battles for the lead throughout the course of the series, and I think that bonus point is definitely something that these drivers strive for, and with 1 point the gap going into the final race, obviously those points sure mattered.
Yes, but I mean, the two drivers we've got to keep an eye on tonight are going to be Jody Banfield and Todd Slauson. Both of those drivers definitely in the hunt for that championship. And they are both here as well, which is always a good news. Jody Banfield, they're running practice laps right now, but actually down the line a little bit. Todd Slauson kind of mid-pack. So we'll have to see. I'm not sure if they are going to be contending for the pole position necessarily. Josh Walker has the fastest time now, but I mean, if you are Todd Slauson, 1 point behind Jody Banfield, a pole position automatically gives you the points lead headed into the race.
Yeah, and Todd Slauson's been one of those quietly consistent drivers throughout the season. We touched on that quite a bit last week. He hasn't had a lot of wins, so to speak, but he has really been there every week, week in and week out, and that consistency's been rewarded, and consistency is what has him in a position to fight for the championship. But with it now being a lot of pressure in this particular race, he's going to really have to step it up and possibly have the race of his life today.
Yeah, actually, still looking for that first win of the season is Todd Slauson. Jody Banfield only has 1 win. 9 of the 13 wins this year have come from Brandon Anderson in 4th, Joseph Mealy in 7th, and Jared Mogard in 8th. So consistency, like you said, you don't have to be winning races to be up in the points because they have a lot of wins and they're pretty far down the list. So yeah, consistency and, coming alive in the playoffs as well, in the playoff format. In the chase, the last 6 races of this 14-race schedule definitely has become critical as well.
Yeah, I mean, these drivers have put on a really good show, too. I mean, we mentioned that Slauson hasn't been exactly spectacular in his finishes, but he's definitely been going for it week in and week out, too. I mean, there's just a lot of really strong competition in this group.
Practice going to be winding up here shortly. They're ticking off about 38-second laps here. And looks like we've got some cloudy, maybe overcast conditions here as well up in Michigan.
Yeah, but I mean, it's Michigan, so give it like 5 minutes and it'll probably be raining or something.
If it rains here, I will be pretty impressed.
See, if the weather dynamic was really true to Michigan, it'd be raining now and then snow in like half an hour.
Right. Looks like practice just ending. Yeah, a couple sunny spots out on the track. Looks like turn 4 is noticeably brighter than some other spots of the track, but assuming that weather doesn't change here in Michigan and over the next 5 minutes of qualifying, Chris, what do you really expect to see difference in the racing with these trucks?
Well, as far as qualifying goes, these single truck runs, I feel like we're probably going to see time slow down a little bit. This is a track that's really big, and I believe these trucks are pretty much going flat out. So drafting a big part of what we see throughout the race, so with single trucks on the track, probably see time slow down a little bit, I would imagine.
Yeah, the trucks racing here at Michigan honestly reminds me of the 2019 Cup package. The draft very important. Some dirty air and arrow push they're going to have to deal with in the turns, but at the same time they've got multiple lines and grooves around the track. Hopefully, we can see a lot of side-by-side racing tonight. Watching Colton Lane here on his qualifying lap. Now Rory Gamble. Too bad he wasn't at the Las Vegas race with that name.
I get that. That's funny.
Thank you, yes. Actually, I don't think we had a Las Vegas race this season.
You know what? I enjoyed the pun so much, I was just going to let it go.
Yeah, we not one of the mile-and-a-half tracks. I was about to say, as soon as I said that, it didn't sound quite right.
That's got to be one of the few oddball tracks this series didn't do.
Yeah, fun schedule that these guys have put together. I mean, a season that starts at Pocono and ends at Michigan is one that will always catch my attention. And Phoenix was the cutoff race. Bristol was the one that opened up the chase. Watkins Glen was in the chase. Talladega was in the chase. And then you have your classics like Martinsville, Daytona, Darlington, Dover. They were in the regular season. Very fun randomized schedule that the Sim Racers for Mental Health Truck Series has put together.
Yeah, I gotta say, I really enjoyed the variety. You never quite knew what you were gonna walk into every race, and I mean, even knowing the schedule in advance, like these guys obviously did, because it's a posted schedule. But still, I mean, just such variety, and really shows off the abilities of these drivers.
Yeah, of course, the real world NASCAR would love to be able to rotate their schedule like that, but weather is a little bit less of a factor here in the virtual world, which is always nice to take advantage of. About halfway through qualifying right now, Jody Banfield, big name in the points fight, is on the top of the board. Actually, Jared Mogart has just jumped his way up there. And just as I say that, Rory Gamble becomes our new pole sitter for now.
Yeah, Rory Gamble ran a pretty dramatic end to his lap when he pretty much was in the grass on the front straightaway, trying to shave off as much time as possible. Obviously, it worked. He did take the pole by 0.03 of a second.
Watching Todd Slauson come across the line right now. That's a slower lap. Looks like he was maybe winding up for this one. Jack Wells. Now Billy Kruska has gone to the top of the board. Times continue to get faster and faster.
Tyler Fody now P1 with a 38.678. You know, this is definitely a momentum track, so I imagine you could probably see these guys pick up a bit on a second lap if they get these trucks wound up.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them. A lot of them, I'm sure, riding that top side on the first lap. Connor Crichton coming across the line now. Driver out of Illinois. Looks like an outlap for him as well. Todd Slauson has found his way up into 8th place. Not particularly great, but great for him. He's only one spot behind Jody Banfield for now.
Did you read what's on the back of Connor Crichton's spoiler?
I did not.
It says, "Nobody calls me chicken."
Oh. He's got a license plate back there as well. That's nice. That's a nice touch. Well, he is going to jump up to 9th. He's actually going to separate Banfield and Slauson. That's definitely going to play a factor for them, because Slauson, instead of starting aside of Banfield, now going to start right behind him.
See, I missed his time. I was trying to write down his plate number because I think he's speeding.
Don't think Ballard's going to have enough time to put in a lap here. But qualifying wrapping up. We've got a good field here for you tonight. Looks like 16 trucks ready to take for the to the track for the final time this season. Let's take a look at that starting grid. Tyler Fode and Billy Kruska going to be starting alongside each other in row 1. Two of those drivers really have been looking for success this season. They might just find it tonight. Jack Wells and Scott Rickard starting 3rd and 4th. 5th place going to go to Brad Cross, and Rory Gamble is going to be in the 77 truck alongside him in row 3. Row 4 behind them going to be Jared Mogard and Jody Banfield in championship contention. Connor Creighton and Todd Slauson rounding out the top 10.
11th place, and our final driver to make a qualifying attempt was Colton Lane. He'll start 11th, followed by Rob Haynes, Jason Stewart, Danny Banfield, Robert Ballard, and Josh Walker, who are all unable to post a time in qualifying.
I mentioned the pole position, handing out 2 bonus points instead of the normal 1, of course. Well, Tyler Fode actually not in the chase, so not much of a factor there for anyone, although he is still fighting to get at least up to 11th place back there.
Looks like we might be in for a pretty cloudy race. How do you think that's going to affect what we see on track today?
Well, you know, normally it gets associated with a grippier track and definitely cooler track temperatures. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw some drivers be able to, since you mentioned this is such a momentum track, I think that's even going to become more of a factor tonight. You're going to be able to carry that speed out, but at the same time, I think you're really going to have to pay attention to any dirty air and try to keep it out of the wall.
Yeah, I definitely think we have a lot of potential for some great racing this afternoon, evening, whatever time it is right now.
4:16 p.m. virtual standard time. It's the only time that matters for these guys right now.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about virtual daylight savings time. What is it? Spring forward, Control Alt Delete back.
Yeah, yes. We'll have to use that one come fall.
So I believe only 1 pace lap on a track this massive. Is that correct?
Yep, they'll be making their way into turns 3 and 4 here, and then Tyler Fode, driver of the number 7, the Floridian, going to be unleashed.
Let me tell you, Nick, it was the highlight of my season to finally be able to ask Tyler what he was doing with the number on his truck last week.
Yes, he's going to come back next season, he said, with the number 40 as Tyler Fode, for all those who missed last week.
Just goes to show the power of peer pressure.
Right. Well, we are about to see the power of 16 NASCAR Gander Outdoor Series trucks unleashed for the final time this season. The green flag in the air here at Michigan International Speedway. Fode and Kruska get on the loud pedal, already 3 wide as they head down into turn number 1.
Well, Tyler Fode with the advantage, but they're now trying to make it, I believe, 4 wide behind him. As we have Jack Wells up in the 2nd position right now. Everyone's starting to try to fall in the line, but as we mentioned, the draft, very important. Jared Mogard getting a shove down the straightaway.
What a phenomenal start that was from Jared Mogard. He started back in 7th. He's already up to 2nd, looking for the lead. That's Brad Cross right behind him. The draft, you can just see, really coming into effect here. Tyler Fode leads lap 1.
Yeah, Fode getting the bonus points that really don't matter because he's not in the chase, but still preventing somebody else from getting it. And that was a great job by Fode to put the block on Jared Mogard. A little bit aggressive for this early in the 80-lap race, but still really impressive drive.
Mogard's going to look to the bottom here in turn number 3. He still has Brad Cross right behind him in the 30 truck. He's going to slide up in front of Fode for now. But side by side as they come off of turn 4, Mogard looks to hold it for now.
And now Jared Mogard is swapping partners with the 7 of Tyler Fode, now giving him a push. As Brad Cross doing a great job hanging on to the bottom of the track. And don't look now, but Rory Gamble is rolling the dice on who he's going to choose. And work his way up into the draft as well.
single file for the most part. Just as I say that, it looked like Tyler Fode about to make a move on Mogard for the lead. They're going to be side by side on the front stretch at the line. Give that one to Mogard by about half a truck length.
Yeah, Fode with a slight advantage going into the corner. I think he might be getting a little wisp of a draft from Gamble there in third. But Gamble doesn't seem very sure which way he wants to go.
They've got a long race to try to figure that out. 60 laps. We're only coming up on lap 5 this time by Gamble, looking down on that far bottom groove of the track, trying to get a nose under Fode. He was able to, but then the 7 truck gets back in front of him. They streak across the finish line, that time line, a single file. Coming off of turn 2. Already you can see that run by Fode on the bottom, but the draft, Gamble giving Mogard that push on the outside that matters, getting real tight as they race down into turn number 3.
Yeah, great battle up front. I do want to bring your attention, Nick. The 33 of Todd Slauson is currently running in the 16th position. Came into the event just 1 point out of the points lead, and he's about a second behind the rest of the field.
Definitely bad news for him. Trying to look back and see if he had an incident or if he elected to fall back.
Yeah, with these events where the draft plays a big role, sometimes it's a little bit of a smarter move to hang back and let the chaos sort itself out. But
you know what? Unfortunately, I don't think he chose to fall back. He made contact with the wall, just the slightest of contact on lap 2. Just a little bit of right front damage on that 33 truck, I think, is setting him back.
Yeah, well, you know, the draft, again, it's very important to this event. And if you mess up the arrow on your truck bad enough, you're going to struggle.
Speaking of the draft, we've got to switch back to the lead because it is getting absolutely chaotic for second.
Yeah, the 19 of Connor Crichton just got into the wall pretty good. He fell out of the battle.
Brad Cross has moved his way up from 4th to 2nd that last lap. Mogard still on the outside of Gamble, though, for 3rd. They keep battling. They're going to have Kruska and Rickard reeling them in. For Scott Rickard, he does sit 3rd in the points. Currently 21 behind Banfield.
Yeah, and how about that 6 trucks that last time by? What's that? 6 trucks within a second? That's pretty tight racing we have.
Very tight for the second spot. Brad Cross has Rory Gamble all over his inside.
You know, it's something our viewers at home may not be aware of is just how hard it is to effectively draft. In these trucks, it's such a challenge to keep locked in with somebody like that and not just drive over them. I mean, that's a huge challenge. Or maybe I'm just really bad at drafting. I guess that could be it too. So Jared Mogard now back up to 2nd spot, but it looks like everybody starting to settle in a little bit here. You got to imagine Tyler Fode right now feels like that picture on the internet of the dog that's in the house that's on fire, just thinking everything's fine. He's just out in front cruising, but he's just got like a hornet's nest forming up behind him, ready to pounce whenever the moment strikes them. But I mean, right now, everything's great.
It's the least of his worries, what's behind him. Man, he's had a great, not particularly a great regular season, But once he got in the playoffs, unfortunately, he wasn't involved in them, but he really did come alive. The last 2 races of the season, he won Watkins Glen after starting second last week after being on the pole at Iowa. He finished second. So he's got a great last couple of weeks, including a 4th at Richmond just the week before that.
Yeah, even leading into the chase, he was kind of a late joiner to the season. He had a couple really strong performances and wasn't able to really capitalize at the finish. But Tyler's been a really strong runner. Hasn't always gotten the results that he deserved, but has really kicked up his performance once he got into the playoffs.
Oh, looks like a couple of drivers in the wall, scattering all over the backstretch. I'm not quite sure who that was. I think maybe Gamble. Oh, yeah, that was Rory Gamble. He got flipped hard. And then it was Josh Walker that came up behind him. Let's see here. Oh, man, hard contact for a couple of drivers. In fact, Colton Lane, another driver that ended up in the wall.
So I guess you could say Colton Lane was not the boss in that situation.
He was looking for an outside lane. Didn't exist. Oh, Tyler Fode as well has fallen back. Looks like he's got some right front damage. He looks to have found the wall at the exit of turn 4.
Well, I guess that'll teach us to make Tony Danza-related puns.
Everyone following each other off the cliff like lemmings here at Michigan. Either way, that has put Jared Mogard in the lead. Brad Cross second. Billy Kruska third. Big shakeups through the field there.
Yeah, this is not really a track where you would expect to see these kinds of mistakes, especially this early on. But yeah, a lot of unforced errors, kind of shaking up the field.
A lot of hard racing early. I wonder if these drivers maybe underestimated how much tire wear they were going to have to deal with tonight. We're a quarter of the way through the race, and I wonder if the 4 Goodyears went on them a little early.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan isn't really a track that I would consider a high degradation track, but I mean, nonetheless, when you're racing each other that hard, you're going to use your stuff up.
A little bit of an update, quarter of the way through the race here on the championship situation. Jody Banfield is back in 12th right now. He would currently, I believe, be your champion. He does have Todd Slauson behind him, but Scott Rickard actually has become the main competition. He's up in 6th. Looks like Colton Lane is coming to the pits. He was involved in hitting the wall. That last little incident. You can see the little bit of damage there on the right front.
Yeah, I suspect this may be a bit of a lengthy stop if he tries to repair any of that damage. Nope, looks like just 4 tires. He didn't sit there for too terribly long, and he's on his way back to rejoin the field.
Couple more pitters here. Oh, the 19 in trouble. That is Connor Crichton. As he came down pit road, looks like he just locked it up. We've seen this a couple times this year. It's so easy to do in these heavy trucks, Chris. Come in just a little bit hot and you slide it in a little too much.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I believe it was Dover where we saw all the pit road issues.
Yeah.
And to add insult to injury, it looked like Connor may have driven through his pit stall too, so he had to back into the stall. So pretty much the worst case scenario for Connor Crichton on this pit stop.
Just about everybody coming now. Jared Mogard, Brad Cross, Kruska, Fode, everyone coming at once. So critical here to not slide through the box.
Yeah, Fode missed his pit box, almost got into the back of that Mustang pace car.
Fody's got a little rear damage too. I wonder if maybe he hit the wall back there as well, or if someone got into it.
I mean, that also could have just been from when he got into the wall earlier,
Right,
too.
yeah.
Pancaked it all along the right side.
Last two drivers coming in now. Rory Gamble. Robert Ballard is in as well. Looks like Jared Mogard has cycled back to the lead. Or at least he will pick that up when he comes across the front stretch here. %50 fuel limit, Chris. We're on lap number 18. We've been green so far. It's a 60-lap race. A two-stopper, I think, at this rate, looks to be cutting it a little close.
Yeah, I mean, if they're stopping at this point, you got to believe it's going to be tough to make. It'd be really tough to make another 61 laps on one tank of fuel. Even if, gosh, I don't even think the draft can really do enough to help stem that fuel use. And this is the track where, I mean, you really can't lay down too much to save fuel. I mean, you got to be on it all the time. So it's going to be a tough one for these guys to manage.
For a lot of drivers are going to be hoping for a caution. That gap that we saw Jared Mogard pull away has shrunk. Rob Haynes has moved into second. He was one of the earlier pitters, so it looks like the undercut has worked to his advantage.
Yeah, he was in, I think, the second lap we had people pitting. He was in there really early, and he may be catching the draft on Mogard right now as he's getting a pretty solid run off the corner.
It's crazy how just pitting one lap earlier before Jared Mogard can jump you up that many positions. Rob Haynes, good fight for him up through the field. He started back in 12th.
Would you say it's a hell of a good fight?
Uh...
I wasn't sure how far we were going to go with these sponsor-related puns, so I just dipped my toe into that one.
Oh.
What part got you? Was it the dip or the toe?
Yeah, the dip, I think. There was a line, you know, and it was crossed.
Well, thankfully it's the last race of the season, so we'll have plenty of time for me to come up with more ways to horrify you with sponsor-related plugs. You know, it looks like Haynes might be content riding in second right now. Do you think maybe he's trying to just ride in the draft and maybe save some fuel?
Quite possibly. He's got one lap less fuel than Mogard as well. Came in a lap earlier. I mean, that's 2 whole miles he's got to make up. So he's going to have to stretch that fuel even more than Mogard. Of course, we are about a third of the way through, so one more stop definitely, but possibly these drivers all trying to avoid having to stop a second time. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's checking that black box, noticing when he pitted, and saying to himself he's got to stay in the draft here.
Yeah, it looks like he's almost breaking the draft a little bit on purpose. He seems to be pretty quick, and he's able to close right in, but he just isn't really pressing the issue at this point in the event.
You can see there Jared Mogard trying to win this one for the Pit Lizards. A little bit of traffic in the form of Rory Gamble, who has fallen back to 15th with some damage. We'll get around him, no problem. But that really allows Haynes on the bottom to suck right up to the back of Jared Mogard at the 00.
You know, in my neck of the woods, we refer to pit lizards as waffle bellies.
A little bit of a battle for 6th place. Danny Banfield in the 98 has actually just gotten around the damaged Colton Lane.
Yeah,
Danny Banfield, of course, brother of Jody Banfield, who has moved himself up into 9th. Current points leader.
It looks like we only have 2 of the Banfields in this event this week. I believe we had 3 of them a week ago.
Just to catch you up with the championship scenario, Jody Banfield is doing everything he has to. Even though he's back in ninth, things are going his way. Oh, caution has come out. That is going to throw a wrench in this. And speaking of the championship, bad news for Todd Slauson fans. He's lost it coming off turn 2. We've got one less contender. Looks like it just snapped on him coming out of 2.
Yeah, it almost looked like he might have had a push coming off a 2 and maybe put a little bit too much wheel into it to try to fight it. And when he tried to gather it back up, the rear end just snapped around on him.
Yeah, watch his hands here. Pretty gentle here. You're trying to turn as little as possible to keep that speed and the momentum here. And yeah, you can see it start sliding. He tried to correct it. That's a tough break for the driver of the number 33 truck. Came into the race tonight 1 point behind Banfield for that championship. Now it's looking not great for his chances. He's got some heavy damage there.
I do appreciate seeing him hit that Consumer's Energy logo, though, after I just paid my electric bill this month.
Take some built-up anger out.
Yeah, I mean, it's like 1,000,000 degrees here right now. I gotta use my air conditioning, but they just want me to pay money for it. Isn't that ridiculous?
It's a crazy concept that they've come up with. I know.
I have to exchange money for goods. I don't understand.
Ridiculous.
And looks like more pit road issues. We had a bunch of drivers that slid through their stalls, which can be a bit of a problem when trying to pit. Although,
everyone,
if everybody slides through their pit stall, then it's actually not a problem.
You'd like to think that. I know the drivers would too. It probably hurts them less. I know Jack Wells was one of those drivers that slid that box.
We were preparing for our pre-race show. Jack Wells actually popped in and told us that he was going to tell us all about whatever the hashtag taco soup story was. And our director, Joe Peak, hates me and decided not to let him tell the story. So the taco soup legend lives on. And I know we were in the middle of the lap guide and coming back to the live broadcast, but people need to know, Joe.
Sometimes it's one of those myths that will live on.
I figure if I should probably stop threatening the guy that determines whether or not I get to keep working at GSRC, huh?
We have asked our peer Bill Zahn as well if he knows any relatives maybe south of the border that would be referred to as taco soup. But no, he does not either. It's a legend in his eyes as well.
Yeah, I thought maybe it was like Bill's Mexican cousin or something, but I believe we also at one point got off track to the point where we were talking about eating soup in Victory Lane after being in a hot car. But last Wednesday just kind of got weird there for a little bit.
Yes, if anyone watching right now is interested by any of the topics we've brought up under caution, I highly recommend you go back and watch last week's race at Iowa. We even had a special guest from Bill Soups on as well halfway in the race. That's always fun.
Yeah, I think last week was in many ways one of our best and worst performances. And I mean worst in the best way.
Exactly.
One that probably won't make it to your sizzle reel, Nick.
I am looking forward to putting that together.
And I'm looking forward to being the guy that you fast forward through to get to the good stuff. So looks like Mogard was able to maintain his lead through that cycle of pit stops. I believe everyone should be on pretty equal footing as far as fuel goes now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Pace lights have gone off, so we're going to restart on lap 30, so there's going to be 31 laps to go. They're all going to need one stop. I think that's going to be interesting because you can really play with that a little bit. I think we're going to have about a 10-lap window. We might see a couple different strategies here, and with a championship on the line, that's always fun to bring in the picture. That is, if we make it to green flag the rest of the way. A lot of hard fighting on the track as well. Let's get you caught up. A little bit of a rundown. Jared Mogard and Rob Haynes are going to be on the front row. Billy Kruska and Danny Banfield are going to be starting third and fourth. Scott Rickard is fifth. He's going to need to be, he's looking to make up some spots here in the championship hunt. Unfortunately for him, Jody Banfield has jumped his way up to sixth. So really only 2 points for Scott Rickard in terms of that position. He's still going to be 19 points behind him when this is all said and done. And as this result holds, it would be Jody Banfield walking away with the championship.
Yeah, Banfield starting to peak at the right time as he moves towards the front of the field. This looks like it's going to be a pretty interesting restart as Jared Mogard playing a little bit of games there with his pace on the pace lap as they're coming down to the green.
Giving a good cushion to that pace car, the iRacing Mustang pace car, pulling off for the second time tonight. Look at Mogard all the way on the bottom of the track. He's going to be away from the rest of the field, definitely away from Rob Haynes there in second as they take the green flag. He comes down all the way to the apron to try to break that draft. Billy Kruska slides up into third. Banfield, Rickard, and the other Banfield back there in a cluster for third place.
Yeah, you gotta wonder how those dramatic moves to the infield are gonna benefit Mogard, as it looks like the sun's actually coming out.
Yeah,
for
especially on that
part of the
backstretch.
track.
Especially on the backstretch, and now we even see it in turns 3, 4, and a little bit on the front stretch. Jared Mogard leads that lap. Rob Haynes keeping him in tow. Kruska, Rickard, and Danny Banfield all behind him. Single file for now. The first double file we see is Jody Banfield on the outside of Rob Ballard, but that, just as I mentioned, has become single file there for 6th and 7th.
You got to wonder, is the 29 of Rob Haynes, now that they're on equal footing with fuel, is he going to lay back like he has been, or is he going to pull the trigger and try to get around Mogard to take the lead?
He's not looking to hold back anything right now. He is really tucked up underneath the back of Mogard, and another driver that's really coming fast is Billy Kruska there in third. He has made some great runs the last couple of laps. Right in front of him, look at Rob Haynes all over the back of the 00.
Yeah, Kruska now sneaking in there, looking to possibly make it 3 wide, and he's got Scott Rickard in tow as well. So it's now shaping up to be a 4-truck battle for the top spot.
Rob Haynes, will he stay in line here once again through 3 and 4? It looks that way for now. One driver not interested in staying in line is Billy Kruska. Oh, really slidey, really wish-washy coming out of turn 4.
Yeah, Mogard going into full desperation mode. He's zigzagging across the track trying to keep that draft broken, but Rob Haynes is doing a fantastic job staying glued to the bumper of the 00.
Rob Haynes giving Jared Mogard a huge push into the turns, trying to get him out of sequence onto the outside groove. So far, though, great driving by Jared Mogard. Look at that slide coming out of turn 4. The driver out of the Midwest.
Yeah, Haynes, once again, probably a chance to dive down underneath, but doesn't do it. Keeps in line with Mogard. But this is a loud... Oh, lapped car coming up. That's the 33 of Slauson. He gets well out of the way.
Yeah, Slauson staying on track, trying to salvage as many points as he can. Gets out of the way. Saw a moment ago as well that Jody Banfield, running back in 6th, set the fastest lap of the race. He went purple.
Would that be in all 3 sectors?
It would be in all 3 sectors here at Michigan. Rob Haynes really pushing hard coming out of turn 2.
At this point, I'm beginning to wonder if maybe these two had some kind of agreement before the race, maybe to give each other a push to get away from the rest of the field, because Haynes has had ample opportunity to try to make a pass and just has not done it.
Caution back out. Connor Crichton spinning in the infield. The 19 truck. This was a hornet's nest back here. Right, battling for the top 10. He got a little bit of help, I think, from Jason Stewart in the 14 truck. Yeah. Little bit of a nudge. That was Todd Slauson. They were trying to get around that lap truck that we were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, that definitely was not that was not helpful at all. And I'm not sure if you caught that one or not, Nick, but just as the caution came out, it looked like Jared Mogard got out of the gas, and we saw how close him and Rob Haynes were racing. I don't think Haynes really got the message and almost really ran over Mogard for a sec. Definitely a near miss as now everyone's heading down pit road.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. They're coming up on 24 laps to go. Still, I think just a hair outside that pit window. But they're going to come in, top it off, and take 4 tires here. Well, at least I assume they were taking 4 tires. We might see a little bit of alternate strategies. Let's see if everyone gets in the box cleanly, though.
Yeah, really, that's been the biggest challenge for everyone, is not screwing up your pit stop.
Looks a lot better this time by. I don't see too many drivers. A couple drivers parked a little sideways, but that's no problem. Looks like Jared Mogard going to be the first out of the pits. Rob Haynes second. Kruska, Danny Banfield, Scott Rickard. We're going to take a short little break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel, but we've got to finish this season. When we come back, you don't want to miss it. This season in the Sim Racers for Mental Health Truck Series presented by Shine MSD, we've run over 1,100 laps in the entirety of the season. We only have 21 left to go. The drivers led by Jared Mogard right now in the 00 and Rob Haynes in the 29 on the front row. Side by side, they're going to be leading them out of turn 4, and the pace car is going to pull off for possibly the last time. We'll have to see. A championship on the line. It's currently being led by Jody Banfield back in 6th. Scott Rickard in 5th. Going to have to hope things really start to go his way. Green flag coming back out in the air right now. Jared Mogard all the way back down on the apron like we saw the last time around. Rob Haynes caught napping just a little bit. Kurs Kruska looking to overtake him as they head down into turn 1.
Yeah, Mogard is not playing games with those restarts. He is taking them very seriously and has done a great job the last 2 we've had.
3 wide back for 3rd place. Scott Rickard all the way down on the inside. Now trying to look for 2nd place as well as Kruska has fallen back. Rickard desperately looking for points in this championship. He is finding them. He's just slingshot himself all the way from 5th up to 2nd.
Yeah, Rickard, I think, is well aware that if he wants to win this championship, he's got to turn the wick up. And so far on this last restart, he has. Ooh, almost gets into Kruska there.
Oh, Robert Ballard has gone spinning on the front stretch. No caution, though. We stay green. Really side by side. A lot of close racing right now on the backstretch heading down into 3. It is Kruska back on the outside now. He swings it down in front of Rickard and Haynes.
And how about this for a storyline? Danny Banfield giving a push to his brother's championship rival.
Mixing things up.
And of course, Jody's right there watching all this go down too, probably wondering why his brother has betrayed him. Or maybe I'm just about to start like some huge fight in the Banfield household. There we go.
Shaking his head. Yeah, there we go. That's a little bit better. They must be listening in.
Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers got a draft.
Well, they might also have watched Real World NASCAR with the Busch brothers this past weekend. That was anything but helping push each other.
Well, they pushed each other, just not.
They did, not in a friendly way. Yes. Back for 2nd, Kruska on the inside, Haynes on the outside. It looks like Haynes gonna find that momentum that he needs to get around him. That has demoted Scott Rickard back to 4th. And how about this? Danny Banfield jumps his way down to the inside. He flew down there to that yellow line. 3 wide behind them. Tyler Fody on the bottom, Brad Cross, and Jody Banfield.
Yeah, Fody making a little bit of a comeback after his troubles early on.
This has got to be nerve-wracking for Jody Banfield. Boxed in there on the outside. One wrong move, and the whole season might go away.
Yeah, and the worst part is it doesn't have to be his wrong move.
Right.
One mistake by any of those drivers surrounding him, and that could be the end of his season.
Well, I want to say we might have a battle for the lead, but we've seen this before. Jared Mogard being pushed very closely by Rob Haynes in the 29.
Yeah, I've been racking my brain trying to come up with theories as to why Haynes isn't making a move. The latest theory I have come up with is that he believes Jared Mogard is some kind of secret government agent and doesn't want to show him his back. And as I say that, he puts Mogard into the wall.
This is causing trouble.
Oh, there's a caution. They're stacking up behind him.
Kruska has wrecked hard on the backstretch. All that checkup caused a scatter, and it was a storm from there.
Yeah, just an accordion effect, I think, when Kruska saw Mogard get into the wall. I think he might have checked up, and nobody else behind him did.
Jody Banfield has gotten through. Scott Rickard has as well. Our 2 main championship contenders at this point. Close call for both of them, though. Fody, like you said, Chris, also very heavily damaged there. It looks like his race might even be done. Riding on board with Jody Banfield, your points leader. You can see the sparks flying. That's enough to make the hair on the back of his neck stand up.
Yeah, was that Fody that got in the Kruzka then?
Yeah, I believe so.
Well, tough break for Tyler Fody. He was finally starting to get his race back after that earlier incident, and unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time.
Looks like Fody might be done for this evening, and I guess this season. Pit stops. Jared Mogard is in. Everyone coming with him. This should be the last fuel stop of the night, and they should all be able to make it from here.
Now you got to wonder what kind of damage Mogard may have sustained. He did get into the wall pretty good to precipitate that incident. Oh, and he slides through his pit stall too. So
well,
things going from bad to worse.
Going back to your earlier theory, though, maybe not bad because Rob Haynes did as well. We'll see as they come off pit road.
Well,
Looks to be Scott Rickard.
Yeah, Mogard's going to get leapfrogged by at least Scott Rickard.
Scott Rickard there looks to be our new leader. Jared Mogard second. Jody Banfield, though, there in third. It seems as though every time Scott Rickard moves up through the field, and I have to check the points to see if he's closed in enough to take that championship. Seems as though every time that happens, Jody Banfield is right there with him, creating it impossible for him to do so.
Yeah, that persistence may pay off for Banfield. Looks like, if I'm reading this correctly, I think he'll be realigned right behind Rickard for the restart. Or no, I'm totally reading that wrong, actually, because Rickard will be coming out first. But still, Banfield not going to be very far behind. I think Banfield's going to come out in third. So with double file restarts, he'll be right behind him. See, I was right.
Pretty incredible season for Jody Banfield. 13 races completed. He's only got 5 top 5s. Only 1 win. That came at Richmond. Pretty incredible what he's been able to put together regarding those numbers, and looks to be fighting to defend a championship here from what will be a third place position.
Now it looks like, is it Robert Ballard and Rory Gamble have both stayed out?
Oh, yeah.
And Mogard, was he hitting pit road again? Did I see that correctly? No, it looks like he was just going to the bottom of the track for some reason.
You're right, yeah.
It looked like he was diving to pit road, and then I took my eyes off of him and opened my mouth before I came back to him.
Yeah, Mogard not used to this tonight, starting from the outside. And yeah, you're right. We do have those 2 trucks out in front. Rory Gamble following Bob Ballard. I'm wondering if they are coming into the pits late. Ballard maybe trying to get a couple bonus points here, or if they are... They don't look to be wave arounds at this point. The 10 truck, however, coming in. So that's takes care of that. Gamble, however, going to stay out.
Yeah, I believe Ballard did lead some laps earlier on in the event. I think under one of the cautions he stayed out and pitted late. Yep. So Rory Gamble looks like we'll be starting P1 as the lights go off on the pace car.
So I mentioned Mogard starting on the outside. That has turned out not to be true. He's going to be starting here on the inside of row 2. See if he can get a good jump. We'll see how much wheel spin Rory Gamble and see how much damage is affected by him. He's definitely taking a gamble staying out there. 11 laps to go when he takes the green flag.
Living up to his name. I like it.
He's going for it. He's rolling the dice. If he gets a quick caution, honestly, it could go his way. Quick championship update. Jody Banfield going to be restarting in 4th on that outside line, right behind Scott Rickard. He's just got to keep him in sight, essentially.
But with a damaged truck starting to his inside, this could be a chance for Rickard to also get out front and maybe lead a lap.
That would help him. 2 extra points. He's not going to have the most points led the race at this point, but he might get a couple. Drivers coming around for getting the green flag here. A little bit of sunshine again there in turn 4. Let's see what happens. It's Rory Gamble in the 77, the driver out of Ohio, on the loud pedal early, trying to stretch that gap. The green flag is out. 11 laps to go this season. Good start for him, but you can already see him starting to fall back a little bit. Rickard on the outside and Mogard on the inside behind him, closing in. Mogard all over the back. He's going to go down to the apron to try to get around him. They're going to be 3 wide on the backstretch for the lead.
And how about this? Jody Banfield giving a push to Rickard as they went down the back straightaway. Looks like that's going to be enough momentum for Rickard to pull out in front as Rory Gamble drops back a couple spots. And now we are right back in the thick of things, Nick.
Rob Haynes getting an incredible push from Danny Banfield. That's going to launch him up into 3rd. How about Jody Banfield stuck on the outside 3 wide with Brad A. Cross right in the middle of him. Absolute hornet's nest behind them there for 3rd.
But much like you mentioned, every time Scott Rickard moves up, Jody Banfield's not too far behind. He's now in 3rd.
Jody
and
Banfield
going for 2nd.
Yeah, he's looking to try to get around Rob Haynes here for 3rd. Pushes up the track a little bit, almost a little bit of contact. Scary moment there. Scott Rickard has gone to the lead. It's around Jared Mogard. Jody Banfield trying to keep him in sight. Scott Rickard, though, even if he wins this thing, he's going to need Banfield to finish a lot further down than he is now.
This has got to feel really weird for Jared Mogard to be the one chasing after somebody in this race.
I'm doing the math correctly. If Scott Rickard wins this race right now, he's going to need Jody Banfield to finish 8th or worse. He's running 3rd, and Scott Rickard might not even be able to win because he's got Mogard right to his inside, hounding him for that lead.
Yeah, Mogard definitely not going to take it easy on him just because he has championship aspirations.
Mogard as well fighting for positions in the points. He was back in 9th in the standings, definitely wanting to win. He's got 3 wins this season. No one has 4. He would be the winningest driver of Season 1 with another win tonight. But he's got a rearview mirror full of Rob Haynes right now.
Yeah, and Mogard may be a little leery of that scenario based on what happened last time. He had Haynes right behind him. And it looks like now that... Yeah, now that Mogard's not the leader, Haynes isn't afraid to try to pass him, apparently.
Haynes not just going for 2nd, he's going for the lead around Scott Rickard. He gets to his inside as they dive down into turn 3, washes up a little bit of contact between the 29 and the 25. That allows Jared Mogard back on the inside to come across. And Jody Banfield's going to move back up into 3rd with all of that action. And this 5-truck battle for the lead just separated so slightly. Rob Haynes, a little bit of contact. He's up into the outside retaining barrier. He's going to fall out of this thing. We stay green for the lead. Mogard leads him down the back.
Scott Rickard now gets a run off at turn 2. He's going to try to close in on Mogard as his championship rival is right to his inside. Caution on the track.
It might be Haynes. Rob Haynes. Oh, and it was. After we saw him get up into the wall. We didn't see what happened after that. Looks like he dove it down to the inside, and I'm not quite sure what happened, but he came down across the track, and I think that was enough to trigger the yellow laundry. I think this is going to set us up possibly for green-white checkered.
I didn't even realize we were this close to the end. I was enjoying the racing so much.
We've got 5 to go now. They're going to come across for 4. I think what it might set us up for is a 2-lap shootout that will not technically be a green-white checkered. I think if we restart on lap 59, it will be, it will be a green-white checkered, but it will not be counted as one of the 2 attempts that the SR4MH Truck Series does. Pit stops, not looking likely for these drivers. They skip them.
So it'd be a green-white checker in the technical sense, not the official sense.
Couple pitters. Danny Banfield is in, and Colton Lane are in. Banfield, notably, coming from 5th place. He's seeing if tires late in this thing are going to help him.
Well, I guess if you're not in one of the money positions, it can't hurt to try.
Oh, and Bob Ballard has actually just spun out. I think he was trying to... I don't know what happened. This was under yellow. Maybe downshifted? Something snapped. Something broke. I'm sure he'll love us putting that up on the show.
Whoops. Well, luckily for Bob, at least nobody saw it except for literally the entire internet.
Not too bad. He's going to make his way around now, it looks like. Well, Chris, here we are after almost 14 complete races. It's been a heck of a season for these guys.
Yeah, I think these drivers have really put on a lot of great shows here on these Wednesday nights, and it's been a lot of fun to call them. Great to get to work with you this season, Nick, and hopefully we get the opportunity to continue doing such.
Yeah, these guys, I mean, they have loved to come out here and just have a great time. And one thing that stands out about this community, they love to joke around and have a good time and put on a show, really, for the fans as well. It's been a great season to watch. Didn't get to broadcast all of the races this year, unfortunately, due to scheduling limitations, but for the ones that we did get to see, they were a whole lot of fun. The champion tonight definitely going to be well deserving of that crown. And yeah, like you said, hopefully we get to see some more action from this series and this league. Great organization, great group of people, for a great cause as well.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up as well. Sim Racers for Mental Health, a tremendous cause. They bring a lot of awareness to issues that people don't really like to talk about too much, and it's great to see a community pull together around issues that are so sensitive. So really cool to see a great cause and a great lot of racing that we've been seeing this season.
Yeah, they've got a great social media. They've got a great a group of drivers as well. They love to run the special events here on iRacing.com, and whether that be an NIS race, maybe the Daytona 500, or the 24 Hours of Le Mans, they love running them. A whole lot of fun to follow on their social media. Highly recommend you head over there after this race. Coming up to 2 laps to go scheduled. Pace lights still on. I'm assuming they'll go off here, so we would have 1 to go as they took the green. Would that be a green-white checkered? It will be, yes. Official word from The stewards, we're going to have a green-white checkered attempt. Number 1. What a way to end the season.
And strangely enough, it looks like Mogard may be choosing to restart on the outside of the front row.
A little bit of trickery, maybe.
Yeah, that's a huge departure from what we've seen out of him literally the entire race.
Well, one thing that it does create is unpredictability. Right now in second place, Scott Rickard, he's going to have no clue what to expect here. He has no clue how to enter turn 1 on a restart because Mogard has always chosen that inside. So maybe this could work out for Mogard. We will just have to wait and see. The driver's on the backstretch now. They've got half a lap, a mile until the finish line, until that restart zone.
So would you say this is an instance of Mo problems for Scott
absolutely. Rickard? Scott Rickard, he's going for a championship. All he can do right now is get out there, win this race, and hope that Jody Banfield finishes 8th or worse.
Well, we've seen some chaos on these green-white checkers, so anything is possible with 2 laps left.
It's a tall ask for Scott Rickard, but he's going to try it anyway. Jared Mogard as well, trying to win this race. They come back into the restart zone. 2 laps to go here in the Sim Racers for Mental Health Truck Series. Season 1, we are green flag at Michigan International Speedway. What a jump from Jared Mogard up there. Brad Cross has moved into second, but look at Rickard hugging him on the inside. The caution has already come out. This is Rory Gamble. Rory Gamble and Danny Banfield. Right coming into turn 1.
It looks like Gamble's going to park it here for this one after this incident. Here we see him going down the front stretch.
Yeah, I'm not sure Banfield knew that Gamble was down there.
That was a tremendous hit for Gamble.
Oh, yeah. Hard hits that inside wall. Hard way to end the season for him. So this will be our second green-white checkered attempt. They'll get them gathered up, do a couple pace laps here. Give the drivers a lot more to think about. Jared Mogard, he's got to be very unhappy with this situation.
Yeah, so this will be our second and final attempt at getting this one in, I believe.
Yep. Normally, some series like to run 3. The official series do. This series has chosen to run 2. Puts the pressure on these drivers. So, in a normal green-white checkered attempt, you will get a caution flag if the incident occurs on the white flag lap. If it occurs, on the green flag lap. If it occurs on the white flag lap, the race will just run back to the finish line. Now, there will be no caution. This will be it. They will have to run. If the caution comes out on that first lap, that'll be the race. If they get to the white flag, they are going to have to run to the line, just like we saw back in the classic days of stock car racing. Classic, but probably a little dangerous in the real world. Fun here on the virtual world.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny to look back at the rules like that from back in the day. That was extremely dangerous, and we just were like, it's fine.
I remember recently watching an old race from, I believe, the 90s at Bristol with an incident, and I remember just seeing Kenny Schrader wheel it off of turn 4 with a couple cars parked on the inside, and just I think my jaw just dropped realizing that this really used to happen.
Yeah, it was a little bit on the reckless side. It's amazing how much safety in racing just comes down to common sense.
Oh, yeah.
Or we can just sit at home and do it on a computer. Then it's not dangerous at all.
Exactly. We'll see here if the pace lights go out. I believe... Well, we'll see. coming across the finish line. Coming up on lap number 63. They're going to stay on one more time. So we've got 4 miles for these drivers to gather their thoughts, come up with a game plan, and then try to execute it.
Yeah, I'm glad the pace car kept its lights on. I was just thinking this race needed a longer caution.
Right.
Just building the suspense for this one. So, Nick, have you gotten the honor of calling one of these green-white checker finishes yet, since they've added it into this? I think the only one we've seen in one of the broadcasts for the series was back at Phoenix, and that one was a insane finish. Tyler Fode was in the mix there, coming towards the end, and unfortunately, we just had chaos at the finish. And definitely a great race, but these green-white checkers can definitely throw a wild card into things.
Oh, absolutely. That was the race, like you said, at Phoenix. Joseph Mealy was the one that came away with that win. Drivers are back on the front stretch.
Hey,
Pace lights have
this guy.
extinguished, yes.
So now it's pretty much do or die. Either we get it in this time or the race is official. Mogard's going to choose the outside once again. Must have found something he liked that last restart.
Yeah, it looks that way, and he's going to have some company up front that he hasn't had most of the night. Brad Cross. Haven't seen him much this year. Driver out of the Mid-South, driving the number 30. He's going to be joining him. Row number 2. Call that your championship row. Scott Rickard and Jody Banfield are back there.
Yeah, and Banfield's going to have the advantage of starting behind the leader. So if Mogard gets a really good start, or a very early start, Banfield's going to be able to take away and possibly drive away from Rickard.
That's what he's going to hope for. We'll have to see.
Brad Cross laying back just a little bit. You got to be thinking Rickard might be wishing he would. There he goes, pulls up alongside him a little bit more.
Yeah, Cross is going to need one heck of a restart. I might even call it a miracle to get around Jared Mogard. He has just been on point tonight. 2 laps to go. It's a green-white checkered attempt, the final attempt. We are green flag racing back at Michigan for the final time this year. Jared Mogard almost spun the tires, but he gets a rocket launch out to the lead. Brad Cross stacking up the field. Rickard going to come low. Up high, it's going to be Jody Banfield. A little bit of contact down to turn
Rickard
1.
through the grass.
Sideways, hard up into the wall. Caution flag is out. Jared Mogard is going to be your winner from Michigan. Jody Banfield jumped up into second. He is going to be your champion in the season of the Sim Racers for Mental Health Truck Series presented by Shine MSD.
Well, tough break for Scott Rickard. He and Brad Cross got crossed up, and Rickard ended up eating the wall, unfortunately eliminating his championship hopes.
Yeah, he had to go for it, you know. It's one of those situations. I think he knew Banfield was there. I think he knew the chances were slim. He had to go for something. We take a look at the replay here. Absolutely chaotic start.
Yeah, I don't
Rickard
think
went
Cross
low,
even knew he
Banfield
was
went
there.
high. Right.
Yeah, and then Rickard goes through the grass and just ended up coming back up onto the track at the wrong time.
A little bit reminiscent of Carl Edwards at Homestead going for a championship. He knew he had to do something different than everyone else, but It just turned out not to be the right thing, and a little bit of blocking down low costs him the season. Coming out of turn 4 behind a pace car, Jared Mogard's going to get his 4th win of the season. He is the winningest driver of Season 1 in the SR4MH Truck Series presented by Shine MSD. Right behind him, alongside of him, it's Jody Banfield, who only had 1 win this season, but the driver out of California is going to be crowned your unofficial champion. So congratulations to him. Fantastic season. We're going to step aside here on the Global Sim Racing Channel for just a moment to gather our thoughts and catch our breath. We've got driver interviews and a race rundown when we come back. Well, the season is finally over here in the Sim Racers for Mental Health Truck Series presented by SD. These guys put on one heck of a show here at Michigan, the double points event to wrap up the season. Let's take a look at those race results. Jared Mogard, like I said, he's now the winningest driver of the series. 4 wins on the year. Congratulations to him. Another great result tonight, coming up from 7th to 1st. Jody Banfield, congratulations to him as well. He is your champion this season, coming up 6 spots himself. Jack Wells is going to round things out on the podium with Jason Stewart and Colton Lane hitting the top 5. Danny Banfield, Connor Crichton, Bob Ballard, Brad Cross, and Scott Rickard. They're all going to be your last lead lap finishers to round out your top 10. Chris?
Going through the back part of the field, Todd Slauson finished 3 laps down in 11th. Rory Gamble 7 laps down in 12th. Then Tyler Fody, Rob Haynes, Bill Kruska, and Josh Walker complete the field, unfortunately non-finisher.
So that'll do that for the final race of the season. Race 14 at Michigan. Got some interviews. Most notably, it looks like our race winner, Jared Mogard. Welcome back to the booth.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Well, you have one more races this season now as we wrap things up than any other driver, winningest driver of the year. Talk us through that race. Looked pretty dominant from our standpoint.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race. With the clouds and stuff, it was pretty much wide open, and by the time the tires started to fall off, you had to pit for fuel. So pretty much hold it wide open, maybe with a very little bit, but it was a pretty fun race. Yeah.
Not 100% sure where you ended up in the points. I know you came in 9th tonight, so I would imagine you're not quite inside the top 5, but somewhere in that mix. So I'll have to take a look tomorrow when everything gets clarified officially. But you happy this year with the points run, or are you just doing this mostly for fun, racking up the wins like you did?
Well, 9th is obviously not what we came to do, but there were some things that went on throughout the year that we didn't necessarily agree with. So we kind of switched our focus from being a championship contender to just going out there and trying to put a whooping on them and get as many wins as we could, which we pretty much dominated the last two weeks. So since we switched our focus, it was pretty good. So I think we got a couple weeks off now before they start a new season up or whatever. So we'll try and run that for points and see where we end up with the next series that we're going to do.
Sounds like a good plan. This being your final time in the booth for this season, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or a thank you to wrap up the season?
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to Buffalo Bar Grill in Greenwood, South Carolina, iBuy Power Computers, Twitchy Race Reports, and everybody on MOSRN. It was pretty cool. It's been a long time since we had a full group of guys racing tonight, so it was great to have all the guys racing. It was pretty fun, so hopefully we keep the momentum rolling, and thank you guys for doing the broadcast when you guys could, and William and all them guys for putting up the lead. So we'll enjoy this victory and look forward to the next series that they do, and we'll be ready to rock and roll then.
Awesome. We'll be here as well. Sounds like a plan. Congratulations on your win tonight for the 4th time this season, and congratulations on a great season run in general. Hopefully we get to talk to you again soon.
Yes, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
That's Jared Mogard, driver of the 00 truck this season. What a great year it was for him. 4 wins, 4 times in victory lane. Pretty great. Chris, you mentioned earlier you wanted to talk to somebody. I think you've got that chance now.
Well, after much discussion, Jack Wells we have in the booth here. Jack, what is up with the taco soup thing?
All right, man, we was running a league. I'm a dirt guy, and the guys at Maxed Out asked me would I do some asphalt racing with them. So I went to spot for Mogard at a race, and my only job was to tell him when he took the lead and when it was the white flag, and he took the lead. I didn't say anything. He goes, "What's going on, buddy?" And my wife had brought me a bowl of taco soup, and I said, "Man, I'm eating taco soup. I'm sorry."
So do you have like a recipe for it or anything that you want to share that might enlighten us on how to properly enjoy taco soup?
Ghost pepper and black beans, man.
That sounds rough.
It sounds painful.
Well, Jack, hopefully we see you back in the series next go around, and hopefully your wife will make us some taco soup so we can also enjoy.
Yes, sir, most definitely. This is my first year competing on asphalt, so I was real glad to get a third here and actually get to talk to you.
Yeah, well, congratulations on a great run. Best of luck in your dirt endeavors, and hopefully we see you back on the asphalt here real soon.
Absolutely, man. I just want to thank all the guys at MOSRN. Mogard, he's worked hands and foot with me all year, man, trying to get me faster and faster every race. I have to thank Jeff Robinson and Buffalo Bar and Grill over in Greenwood, and Twitchy Race Report, Splash and Go Graphics, and of course you guys for the great broadcast, and William for a good.
Well, we appreciate having you, Jack. Once again, congratulations on a great run, and hopefully we'll see you back soon.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that was Jack Wells, and it looks as though that's been our season. We want to give a special thank you to everyone who came out tonight for the final round of the Sim Racers for Mental Health Truck Series presented by Shine MSD, especially everyone like Jack just mentioned who helps over in the organization and behind the scenes at SR4MH. An additional thanks to all the amazing companies that provide the software and hardware that we use to create a GSRC production for you. We also, of course, want to thank the very talented June Lalonde who provides our music. See the screen for more on how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team tonight, Chris, Joe, and Dougie, and everyone that helped throughout the season. Make sure you check out the GSRC on social media. You can do that at our website on globalsimracingchannel.com, on Twitter at GSR Channel, on Facebook at Global SimRacing Channel, on Instagram at GSRC_Graham, and of course on our YouTube channel right here, right now. You spent the night with us. Why don't you scroll down just a touch if you haven't done so already? Hit that big red subscribe button so you don't miss a second more of racing. That's going to do it for the racing here in the Sim Racers for Mental Health Truck Series, presented by Shine MSD, and that's going to do it for the season as well. Congratulations once again to Jody Banfield on taking home the championship this evening. We definitely hope to see more on-track action from this series and these drivers in the future. Finally, with all that being said, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.